right behind me, they say they are trying their very best, but there is no way that they can replace SNAP, or in California it's called CalFresh, because that program does all the heavy lifting. They will do their best, but they say they only provide one meal compared to 9 meals that CalFresh can provide a family. So there's no way you can replace it, but they say they're here if anybody should need their help. Starting today, if you don't meet the requirements, that means if you start today fresh as far as this new program, you have to prove that you work at least 20 hours a week, or if you volunteer, or you're in some kind of job training program equaling 80 hours a month. If you don't do that, you are no longer required to get the SNAP benefits, and we're talking about 2.7 million people in California receive those benefits. Approximately 500,000 people are in jeopardy of losing that money, which is about $192 per person. We got a chance to talk to the executive of San Francisco Marin Food Bank. Here's his take on what people are doing and what they're doing to try to change that requirement.
We're continuing to advocate. We're continuing to reach out to local, state, and even national to folks to emphasize how important it is to retain these benefits. HR 1 is devastating. It created it just basically savaged the safety net. And so what we need to do is elevate public and private partnerships in order to maintain or improve access and adequacy of CalFresh.
Here's what you need to know. You have to work at least 80 hours a month. I've already talked about that. If you're between the ages of 18 and 64 years old and you are not taking care of anybody 14 years or younger in your household, then you are eligible as far as being able to work. Then you have to go to work. Breaks down to about $192 per person. If you are pregnant or caring for somebody disabled, then you are not required to meet those requirements at this particular time. Now, this has a 90-day window, so if you are reapplying starting today, you have 90 days to prove you meet all those requirements. If not, then you are not eligible for CalFresh. And again, about 2.7 million Californians rely on that. Back to you.
Starting today, the city of Oakland is providing free meals for children. The summer food program will serve kids at libraries, rec centers, and some housing sites. Meals will be available today through August 7th. Lunch is served noon to 1, snacks 3 to 4. Adults with disabilities who are enrolled in the school program can also eat for free. Let's look outside right now in the city of San Francisco and talk about our forecast. That's the view there. The part of the Embarcadero today. It's a warm Monday as we kick off June 1st, a new month, a new week.
And it's beautiful.
It's great.
There's a lot of sunshine out there. Most folks see it, but it's definitely warm, especially for our friends further inland. We're looking right now over at SFO. Shouldn't have any issues there. You're noticing maybe in the corner of the screen it's looking a little more gray. So we are going to continue to see that marine layer inching back in, but more so overnight. So I think along the coastline, you can maybe expect to see those skies turning a bit more gray over the next few hours, but more so into our overnight hours for the rest of us when it comes to seeing those clouds. We were in the 70s earlier in San Francisco. We cooled off just a little bit, but we still got some upper 60s. 72 in Oakland. We've got 80s for San Jose, almost 90s in Livermore, Concord, Santa Rosa. And we're still a little cool in Half Moon Bay and into the 50s. So these are our highs for today. Like I said, I think we might get just a little bit warmer. Blue dot where we are going to be, and then that number just to the side there is where we should be. All of these numbers a little bit above normal, but by tomorrow I think things are going to be a little bit closer to where they should be. Here's a look at our fog and that marine layer. Like I said, over the next few hours, spots like Pacifica, Half Moon Bay, you'll likely start to see a little bit more of that a little earlier on. When it gets a little later in the evening into tonight, starting to see that fog creeping into some of our inland spots, including there in the South Bay, before it pulls back once again tomorrow to along that coastline. So tomorrow you can expect some coastal fog, coastal stratus, the rest of the region into our afternoon. Once again, another day of sunshine, but those temperatures won't be quite as hot. Something else to note, if you are going to be out and about today, a 9 for that UV index. Tomorrow, a little bit less, closer to an 8, but that is still very high, which means burn time in about 15 to 20 or so minutes. I found out the hard way this weekend that that's the case, so make sure that you have your sunscreen handy, hats, sunglasses, and then especially our spots that are getting into those 80s and 90s, make sure that you are limiting your time outdoors here. Giving you a look at our wind as we head into our evening. Once again, we're kind of settling into that pattern with those breezy evenings, calmer starts to the day, so those gusts up to about 20 or 25 miles per hour before they relax into our overnight hours. Tomorrow, some folks cooling things off, maybe about 5 to 10 degrees, cooling even further into the weekend. We'll have a closer look at your 7-day forecast coming up.
The Trump administration is weighing a proposal that could effectively